All right, welcome to today's show. So, the strategic Bitcoin reserve for the United States, boom or bust? That is the question floating around the internet. I know I am a day late or so on this news, but here's what I'm here to say today, okay? The writing couldn't be more clear on what is happening right now in the United States with the strategic Bitcoin reserve. And one of the things that I've learned in life is even when somebody specifically tells you what they're going to do, and then they do it, like Trump just did, and the United States just did with a strategic Bitcoin reserve, even when people tell you what they're going to do and then they do it, and they spell it out in writing, there are always people who will be on the lines or on the ropes trying to invalidate, knock down, squash, or crush good news. And the number one thing that I've learned in the past 2 decades as an entrepreneur is you have to have certainty in your decisions, and you have to have certainty in your choices, and they need to be your choices and your decisions, and when you make them, you stick by them. And I am extremely excited by the strategic Bitcoin reserve. It is extremely bullish news. And regardless of what happens with the price right now, we all want it to go up. I know that, and I understand it went down, okay? The main thing to understand is that the news was really, really good news. And you can have people who are twisting it. You can have people that are saying it wasn't as good as they expected. You can have people saying that, oh my God, it's not a real strategic Bitcoin reserve. The US is transferring 200,000 Bitcoin that they already have and putting it in the reserve. It specifically says that the US is going to acquire more Bitcoin with budget neutral strategies, which is really, 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 really good. Really good. So my message today is simple. It's stick with your certainty of what you got and stick with the data that's pointing in the right direction, and don't let other people's bad news, other people's invalidations knock you off the horse. The White House, in the White House of the United States of America yesterday, there was a conference, call it a round table, call it a square table, where some of the most powerful and intelligent minds were sitting around talking about the strategic Bitcoin reserve. And it is a moment in history. That's them calling right now. The round table's calling about the strategic Bitcoin reserve right now on the phone. It is a moment in history to acknowledge that we are going in the right direction. I was sitting at the table with my family last night, and I was saying, 7 years ago when my brother and I were like, this is it. Bitcoin is the answer. 2018 and 19, we started loading into Bitcoin, and we knew 7 years ago. And for those of you who stuck to your convictions and stuck to your knowingness and just stuck to your viewpoint of like, this is the right choice, and now sitting in the White House of the United States of America, we have a strategic Bitcoin reserve. This is good, man. This is really, really, really good. And I don't understand, but I do understand how some people can be negative and think this is not good because they can't, number one, read what it says exactly. Okay. Number two, so some people can't read what it says exactly and understand what it says. And number two, people are easily influenced and swayed and invalidated of their right opinions. And so if you believe that Bitcoin is a good thing, number one, then the strategic Bitcoin reserve for the United States of America is a really good thing. If you know that a year ago we didn't have this, a year ago we had a government that was not pro-crypto. Not even just a year ago, months ago. And within 2 months, we have a strategic Bitcoin reserve in the United States of America. This is big news, man. It's huge news. So don't let yourself get swayed by other people's influences that this is not a bullish good thing. Yes, the price drops. Yes, things happen. Yes, it doesn't always move in the direction that you want. But if you look at the indicators again and you follow the indicators and you look, is this bullish news over 2025 and throughout 2025 for Bitcoin and crypto? The answer is resoundingly yes. Yes, 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 yes. It's huge. So, one, as I said to my brother last night and my buddy, I said, I'm proud of us, man. I'm proud of those of us who stuck to our knowingness. For me, it's been 7 years now since I bought my first Bitcoin and stuck to our knowingness that this is the right move for me personally. This is the right move for the United States of America. Hell, Texas is on board right now with passing the bill. Utah just got on board with passing the bill. This is the domino effect we've been waiting for. I love the beautiful videos of Bhutan floating around the internet. And you see this wonderful culture of people, and you see like they've been a culture of gold over the last so many years, and now you see they're a culture of digital gold, and you see this happy nation of people just like buying Bitcoin. And I love that El Salvador is defying the IMF. Whatever reason the IMF is saying that El Salvador can't buy more Bitcoin, and El Salvador is buying Bitcoin every day. I love it, man. It's people who, thank you, Anthony. It's great to be back. And I agree with you, 1 million Bitcoin in the next 5 years, whoever just said that. It's great to see and to know that we have countries that are sticking to their convictions of what they believe. Like El Salvador is continuing to buy. Bhutan's continuing to buy. I think Bhutan has 13,000 Bitcoin. I think El Salvador has 6,000 Bitcoin. Bhutan is mining Bitcoin. And so we have countries that are sticking to their convictions. We have Trump, who said he was going to do what he just freaking did. This is a good bullish sign. And I wouldn't want it any other way than the US acquiring more Bitcoin with budget neutral strategies, because they're specifically saying that they're not going to spend the taxpayer dollars to acquire more Bitcoin. We don't want that. We are in a nation that is trillions of dollars in debt. The whole purpose of Bitcoin is to create a reserve so that we can lessen the debt, the trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of debt in the United States. So it's a wonderful thing that they're not using our tax dollars to buy more Bitcoin. It's a wonderful thing that they're going to figure out budget neutral strategies to acquire more Bitcoin, and to think that the United States government and the powers in charge of this reserve are not smart enough to figure out budget neutral strategies to buy more Bitcoin. It's crazy. Of course they are. Of course they are. So this is nothing other than bullish. See, these are the times where even when news comes in and you see it drop, even though you've been through maybe hell over the last couple months watching MicroStrategy drop and Bitcoin drop, it's resolve. It's sticking to your knowingness. It's not letting other people's opinions invalidate you and push you in on your decisions and push you into fear. Now, this is not financial advice. This is not legal advice. It's not investment advice. It's not tax advice. But for me personally, I don't care what people around me are saying. Okay? I care what's being done. I care about the data and the action that's being taken. The United States of America has a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Could you say this a year ago? Could you say this 3 months ago? Could you say this 5 months ago? And just because you have somebody on the airwaves telling you, oh, this isn't good news, or they're disappointed, is there a reason for you to get disappointed? No. All the data points to the fact that we have a strategic Bitcoin reserve. It's huge. It's huge, man. Celebration. We should be celebrating. All right? And we know, let's just take a look at how far we have come. How far we have come as a country. Okay? How far we have come with money. Do you remember the days? I remember when I was 21 years old and I got in the financial business, and the pitch from financial advisors at the time was like, hey, if you do 10% rates of return over the long run, you're doing great. You're doing great. But that was never true. That was never true. And now finally, we have a digital commodity like Bitcoin, finally, that is not averaging 10% a year, is not averaging 20% a year, is not averaging 30% a year, is not averaging 40% over the last 4 years. It's averaging more than 50% a year. So we finally have a digital commodity, something that we can own, something that's decentralized, where we can put our money, and instead of flying into a head fucking wind, right? where 7% more money is being printed every single year and you're earning 10% because you've been told for 2 decades that that's a good thing, you finally have the truth. The truth. The 10% over the long run isn't really a great thing. You're barely surviving. And so for the first time in the United States of America, we have an opportunity for all people to get ahead with a decentralized platform and Bitcoin, a digital commodity that the United States of America, in the White House of the United States of America, has been acknowledged and accepted and signed freaking in, man. This is huge. Texas, Utah, who's next? Who's next? And now the games begin, because if we've learned one thing on this journey, right? If we've learned one thing on this journey, that when good news comes in, you get the people on the line, right? Who then invalidate, make wrong, not good enough, doesn't work, isn't going to happen. And then if you get enough people invalidating it, enough people get in fear and they believe it. Now, I get it. There's good people that get into fear sometimes because one person's saying this and they get into fear and they buy into it. But consider the fact that there's not good people out there too that are putting shit on your lines and putting shit online to scare you. Consider the fact that that's true. It's true. Consider the fact that there is a confront of evil. And whether you like Elon or not, Elon Musk, he is confronting evil, man. He's confronting evil. All right. There's evil going on in the world. So the point is, the evil that's lurking in the shadows out there, that's putting bad news on the lines all the time, even where there's good news, and then gets a whole group of people that are trying to do good and trying to put out good content and makes them freaked out too. And then it creates a ripple effect of people putting out negative vibes, negative vibes, negative vibes. I can understand to go, hey, things aren't good when the data isn't good, right? And you can't just consider the price the only data point. Like Wayne Gretzky used to say, I don't skate to where the puck is, I skate to where the puck is going, man. And the indicators of what's happening in the United States of America and countries across the world and states of America is pointing to the fact that Bitcoin is here to stay. And the indicators are we are going into the future of a new economy, a new time, a new money. This is great news. This is not a time to be fearful. This is not a time to be propitiative to looking at the prices and going, oh my God, prices please go up, prices please go up. And for me personally, this is not a time to sell because I ain't selling. I'm going, I'm riding, I'm looking at the indicators. I'm on board, man. I've been on board for 7 years. So with that said, read what it says. Read what the United States put out. Don't listen to even what I say. Go read what it says and make your own opinion of it. And don't let somebody else's doubt and uncertainty get into it. And you could let my excitement and my inspiration get into your decision-making of it. But my inspiration and excitement is the right thing because it's the right indication of what the news is. Okay? It's the right indication. You know? It's like if you wouldn't be at a funeral and all of a sudden be excited, right? I know this because my dad just passed away. Nobody was excited, all right? So when you get good news about the strategic Bitcoin reserve of the United States of America, you get excited. It's the right indication. It's the right emotion, right? That's the game, man. Not to these people lurking in the corners trying to waver people's uncertainty and invalidate your choices. Don't get caught up in that. Do your research, look at the data, figure out for yourself, get multiple sources of data, and then with your own eyes, observe and obnose the data and go, is the data pointing in the right direction? Is Bitcoin a good thing? Is this a good thing? That for the first time, we have a digital commodity that everybody can buy and we can get ahead. We can get ahead. See, decisions aren't just win-win for me. It's win-win for the country. It's win-win for the people. It's win-win for the countries, the nations, mankind. This is a win fucking win, man. That's what this is. So celebrate it. Celebrate it and pass it on. Yes, might we dip more? Yes. Might we go up more? Yes. But the indication of you believe in the asset long term. And that's how you make decisions. And then you stick with it. And then along the way, if you want, and it goes up and you want to take profits and you want to enjoy whatever, this is not financial advice. You do what you want. You do your life. You do your game. But please do not let people spoil your good news. Man, we weren't even in this place. We weren't even in this place 2 months ago. We didn't even know if the U.S. was going to even consider a strategic Bitcoin reserve before Trump campaigning. And Bitcoin still persevered, and it still broke through in spite of an administration that wasn't crypto or Bitcoin friendly, and it still persevered, and it still started going up. You had the ETFs last year. You got the strategic Bitcoin reserve this year. You got states, Utah, Texas. You got Bhutan. You got El Salvador. You got other countries. You got BlackRock owning 5% of MicroStrategy. BlackRock owns 5%. Yes, BlackRock, with one of the leading ETFs in the world on Bitcoin, also owns 5% of MicroStrategy. The indicators are good. You got Larry Fink coming out and saying who years ago, hell, man, we were on board before Fink was, man. 2018, I was on board. Fink wasn't pro Bitcoin. Now you got Larry Fink pushing it, going from 1% of portfolios should potentially be in Bitcoin to 2%, maybe 3%, maybe 5%. And even pension funds. Look at what's happened over the years. So you have to zoom out during times of fear or when naysayers coming in and people are going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, it's so bad, it's so bad. No, this is good, man. This is good. This is great news. I'm coming to you live. I'm excited. I'm not back at my place in California. I'm in a hotel room in Florida, and I'm excited to share the news. And I wanted to bring on the airwaves some certainty. We have a chance now. And if you study the history of printing of money in the United States of America, on average, it's about 6.67% per year, every year since the inception. And so that would mean somebody who's earning 7% doesn't even get ahead ever. Ever, period, ever. It's just math. And that would mean that 10% would never get somebody fully ahead, which is why, if you look, we're a nation in the United States that's in debt. Okay? We have citizens and people who live here that are in debt. Why? Because we haven't had a sound money before. And we have one. And now the United States is giving its approval, and God bless all countries and nations. And I hope you all thrive and win. And the United States is setting the pace because it takes leadership to go, yes, this is the right thing. And it is the right thing. It's the right thing. And anybody who doesn't believe that Bitcoin is the right thing, in my opinion, just doesn't understand it. One, or two, has an evil agenda. Period. You can't look and study the hundreds of hours that I put into it personally. And you can't study it and listen to it and know it and observe it and look at the data points on it and say that this is a bad thing. You can't. You're either misinformed, and that's okay. Have people just get knowledge and get understanding. It's okay. People get words they don't understand sometimes and they forget the whole concept. It's okay. People read things that are being published and put out and they misunderstand things sometimes, and then they interpret it a different way and they pass on the wrong news. Heck, I've done it before. So it's okay to have misunderstanding. You just go, you look it up, you look up the words you don't understand, you get clear, you look at the data, you make a decision for yourself. But it's not okay for people who are out there who are evil, that are trying to push bad agendas, that this isn't a good thing. It's not okay. Stop. It's not okay. All right? So you're all here because you know it's a good thing. So as a good thing, we celebrate what's going on right now. We don't go into fear. And we stick with our decisions, and sometimes we win and sometimes we lose, but at the end of the day, we're going to be more right than wrong. And that's the goal in this game, is to be more right. And that's how you win, survive, and thrive. So we make our decisions. We stick to them. We live with the consequences of them. And this is a pro-survival decision. This is a win for the entire world. What just happened in the White House yesterday? This is a win for the entire world. And it's wonderful. And I'm so excited for the first time that we have an opportunity to really get this message out to the world, to where people are accepting. Do you remember 7 years ago, for those of you who've been in Bitcoin longer than me, and maybe 10 years ago, some of you, how hard you had to push on the concept, you'd introduce it and people thought you were crazy, and you'd bring it up twice and 3 times and 4 times and 5 times. You're like, how do people not see this? Like, if you can't see it now, with the United States of America putting their stamp on it, with people who have good intentions, these are people with good intentions, to say, yes, okay, good. This is good for America. This is good for other countries. This is good for the world. This is a good commodity, Bitcoin. It's good. So in the face of a country, in the US, and you can look at your country, because I know there's money printing in many countries, and you can stack it up in the face of that. This is a very good thing in a country that's printed more money every year, 6.67% on average, since existence and the inception of the dollar, which is only deflated and is only lessened the value of the dollar over time. I was sitting with my stepfather last night, and we were talking about his salary back in 19 whatever. I think it was 1950 something or 60 something. And his salary when he came out, and it was like $4,500 a year. And we looked it up in real time in today's dollar, and so it would be $50,000 a year. And that just shows you that the salary from 70 years ago and the purchasing power of the dollar, it decreases. It's a fact. It's a fact. And so because of that, we can't just sit here and eke out an existence hoping for 10% in something that one knows nothing about. Yeah, we'll put it in we'll put it in an investment and let a financial advisor pick, and it's in a whole bunch of different funds, and we'll just let it sit there and hopefully get 10%. That was the bill of goods I was sold at 22, and I take full responsibility for buying into it. But that's not the game. That's not how people win. They win by some simple truth like Bitcoin. A simple idea, a simple truth with a finite amount of coins that's scarce and is valuable and is simple when one looks just to understand it. That's all one needs to do is look. And when one looks and looks and looks some more, they see the truth. And when you look at all the wonderful things that have happened for Bitcoin, and not to mention all the wonderful things that have happened for MicroStrategy, because I love MicroStrategy. And bless Michael Saylor, man. I mean, this guy has stood to his convictions for the last 5 years and has probably wavered many times in his head. Let's face it. You start getting people on your lines telling you this is no good, this is a dumb decision. Anybody is going to budge a little bit, right? And have some doubt a little bit and some uncertainty a little bit. But this guy, man, he just stayed and he stayed and he stayed and he stayed, and he paved the way as a leader and a voice for people all over the world to put something there that he knew was good for mankind. And wow, and to see him there yesterday, and to see the crew there yesterday, to see all the intelligent people there yesterday, and the excitement around this Bitcoin reserve, it's a wonderful, wonderful moment. And it's a moment, and it's a symbol of freedom. It's a symbol of freedom, because when truth comes out, truth represents a symbol of freedom. And we have truth that is coming out, and we have the truth of Bitcoin that is paving the way. And yes, it's only one component of living, which is obviously money, or call it a commodity. It's only one component of living, but it's a wonderful thing to know that people all over the world have a chance to get ahead now, because Bitcoin can help us outpace the money printing, outpace the inflation, and hold something that truly holds its value over time. It only gets more valuable over time in comparison to the dollar and other assets. And it's time, those who want to invest in gold, great. Gold has some great properties. But it's time to step into the technological age of where we are and know that we are a digital world, we are a technology world, we are a digital country, and we are an advanced country that can have a digital commodity like this that has so many more powerful properties than gold. And if you just stack it up, data to data, and you look at the properties next to each other, any smart person would come to that conclusion. Now they have to decide. Can I stomach the volatility? Can I stomach the ups and downs? Can I stomach being an early adopter? Can I stomach the invalidation of people telling you, what are you, stupid? You're doing that, all that stuff. I remember a family member of mine calling up his friends who were on Wall Street and them going, you're doing what? You're doing Bitcoin in 2018, 2019. And now look at it. in the United States of America, man. And now spreading all over the country, as it already has to some parts, all over the world. Governments will follow, pension funds will follow, citizens will follow, states will follow and have already followed, and it will be an effect, and it will be an incredible 2025, an incredible future. So I am excited. And I am some Jacob says you should sell Bitcoin life insurance since you used to sell life insurance. Yeah, I just emptied out everything. I just dumped into MicroStrategy. And by the way, like I most of everything I bought was in 2000 was early. So the last time I bought Bitcoin was in 2023 when it was $30,000, and I put a whole bunch more money into Bitcoin. And then in 2024, I decided to allocate a lot of my portfolio to MicroStrategy. So I got in early in 2024 of MicroStrategy, but I'm in a similar boat of many people where I just emptied out a life insurance policy and I dumped the entire amount into a MicroStrategy and a version of MicroStrategy that's more of a leveraged MicroStrategy. Okay. So I understand the volatility. I understand when it goes down. And I was doing it when I remember a few weeks ago, MicroStrategy was running up and it was like at 337. I'm dumping in like a bunch of MicroStrategy at that time. And then my buddy and I are trading in, and we're trading into some leverage stuff when it's at 323 and 327. And I'm aping into positions and I'm watching it go all the way down like you watched it. I'll go down to 228, but I didn't sell a dime. Okay. Not a dime. Because I've watched this stock. Not financial advice, but I've watched it. And I've watched it, and I was in it early. And I've been watching it since 2020 because that's when I bought my first share ever of MicroStrategy. And then, of course, got into the FOMO of it, and I sold that share at that time. But I bought my first share in 2020. And then I aped back in 2024. And I watched it, and I watched the trend. And to me, what's happening right now, in spite of the good news and all the good things that are happening, what I believe is happening right now is the same thing that I was watching in the same way the stock moved back in 2024, where we watched the volatility. We watched it shoot all the way up, and it literally chopped. I remember it went 50% down, and it chopped for months and months and months and months, and I just held. I just held on to it. Held on to it. And then we watched the rocket ride, and the stock split. This is before the stock split. Remember when it was up around 1900, 2000, and it dropped down to 1100? I don't know what date it is, but you can go look it up. And then I watched the rocket ride, man, go, and the stock split, and then the rocket ride up to after hours. I think we were trading at 540 or 550 or something like that. Okay. So again, in context of MicroStrategy, for me, this is not financial advice. This is how the stock moves. This is the volatility. This is what I signed up for. So when it drops, I take responsibility. Okay. And I stick to my position, and I stick to my viewpoint, and I stick to the good news that's happening. It's great news. Now, wouldn't we love if our portfolios just went up forever and there was never any ups and downs? But welcome to planet Earth, man. This is how planet Earth runs, right? This is how it runs. Planet Earth runs like this, right? You go after a goal, and there's freaking obstacles, man, and you got to bust through the obstacles and the barriers. And then you set out a new goal and a new height, and you make some new decisions. There's more there wouldn't be a game without that. There'd be no game. Things just went up and went up forever. So for these in particular, when we're dealing with something that's volatile, like Bitcoin's volatile, MicroStrategy is twice as volatile. Twice. So when we're dealing with this kind of volatility, yes, you love the rides up, but for me, I have trained myself to stomach the rides down because I've lived through this for 7 years. This is my 7th year now. And so when it goes down, my personal thing and my knowing is really simple. It doesn't feel good. Every once in a while I get into a fear of like, oh man, it just dropped more. God, come on. Nobody likes waking up to that. But you get to your day, you go on creating your life, you go on creating your income, you go on creating your futures. And this is part of it because all the energy that you put out in your life to work hard and work hard and work hard, for me, I store it in these assets so that my energy can expand. And when it retracts a little bit and it pulls back like it has, I understand that this is the game, but this is the game that I want to play. I'm not in it for 10% returns a year. I'm not going to survive that way. Okay. And nor are the rest of the people on planet Earth. That's why we're in debt. right? When you factor into 7% money printing, when you factor into average of 28% credit card debt when people get to debt, and you factor in all the other headwinds, and you factor in people lurking in the corners trying to invalidate your decisions about good things that are coming out, and you factor that in, you're going uphill. So you better have some fucking juice, man. And Bitcoin's got the juice. And if you want super juice, MicroStrategy's got the juice, man. That's the super juice. And I like the super juice, which is why I have heavy allocations in MicroStrategy and heavy allocations in Bitcoin. And I am more heavily weighted in MicroStrategy. I want the super juice. And when the super juice is going, it's great. And when the super juice just drop back down to 220, the super juice runs out momentarily, right? But I believe in the super juice, so I ride it and I roll with it. And now for me is not the time to take profits. It's as we go on the run into 2025 and we take the field, man, and other nation states follow, countries follow, and people get in the game because we are setting a standard here. The United States of America set the standard. We will be the crypto capital of the world. We will be the leaders, and people will follow. And hopefully, I hope other countries come in and compete. So we can have a game and we see who's going to win. I hope it's close. And at the end of the day, I hope the world wins. That's my game. I hope the world wins. I hope the planet wins. All right. So whatever's going on, go read what Trump and the U.S. government just put out. Go read it, right? Or Trump and let's call it our new strategic Bitcoin reserve and the people who are leading this and heading this up. Read what they went and put out and go see what it is for you. And let's acknowledge the fact that the U.S. is going to use budget neutral strategies to acquire more Bitcoin, 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 to acquire more Bitcoin. We are going to acquire more Bitcoin. That's what's going to happen. So let's enjoy. Let's have some fun. Let's get in the game. And, bring your friends and family along, spread the good news. They don't have to be in it. You don't have to give financial advice to anybody, but educating, sharing knowledge, sharing wisdom, sharing truths, putting good things on the lines of the country and the world is important when you have people lurking in the shadows trying to put bad things on the line to shake your certainty. Consider there are people out there like that, but consider the fact that the great majority of people are freaking amazing good, all right? But even great people get into uncertainty and doubt and they get shaken. And so I'm here to say, fuck the uncertainty. Let's go. Game on. Let's rock and roll. Hope you guys have an amazing. Yeah, I was publishing more frequently before, Anthony, because my old man just passed away, and so I took 2 weeks off. But I will be back in the game. I'm heading back to California in probably a couple days, so I'll be more frequently on and in the game. But for now, I just want to drop in and say hello because I feel like in times right now we need to have more certainty and more positive people spreading the true data. And reading the true data and giving people an opportunity to say, hey, here's my thoughts and opinion on what this thing says, but actually looking at what it says. All right. Hope it serves you. And you guys have an incredible rest of the day, and keep the certainty, keep the conviction, and make your own decisions. Right. For me, I'm going to make my own decisions. Everybody makes their own personal decisions and are responsible for their own personal decisions. Hope this serves you. I'll see you on the flip side.